Hey guys, this is T with charlamakayab.com. How are you? Hope you're having a good, Wednesday? I can't believe half the week is gone already. Anyway, I just wanted to talk to you about adrenal gland fatigue syndrome. If you've ever been at a point in your life where you've been seriously stressed, so psychologists talk about there is, hey Chantel, there are about 7 or 8 life events that can be considered major stressors. Anything can be a stressor, but like one of them is divorce. One of them is grieving a death. One of them is moving, because moving can be very stressful. And there's a whole bunch of them, right? And so if you go through events like that, which there was a period of my life about a decade ago where I went through multiple events like that, one after the other, literally 3 major life events, and people can only handle so much, right? Our body is built for something called fight or flight. So our thoughts naturally are actually negative, and it's to protect us from danger. So if we are in a stressful situation, we either fight it or we flee, right? Or flight. So I was under a tremendous amount of stress, and I knew something was really wrong with me. I went to a functional MD. So they are a medical doctor with a medical degree. But if you haven't heard of them, but they're called functional MDs. They basically do a combination of East meets West. They believe in both principles. So they give a little bit of a natural aspect. So it's not like going to a regular doctor. So because Western medicine, by the way, does not recognize something that I ended up being diagnosed with, which is adrenal fatigue syndrome. Basically, your adrenal glands are there to help you, protect you through danger, for fight or flight. So it's called adrenaline, right? Your adrenaline rushes. If you see a car about to crash into a person and you push the person out of the way, right? That's your adrenaline working. It's giving you this excessive boost of energy to accomplish almost something that seems like superhuman in the moment, right? But what happens is when we're completely stressed out, sorry, I have 100 notes popping up. When we're completely stressed out, our adrenals keep going like overtime. It's like they didn't get the memo that they need to stop working, right? And so they just continue working overtime as though we're in that type of high stress situation where I just gave the example of you're pushing a person out of the way so they don't get hit by a car, like that type of crazy situation. That's what your adrenaline does night and day when your adrenal glands are running over time. And they run over time because when we get stressed out, we secrete a hormone called cortisol, and that's a stress hormone. So when you're stressed out in these modern life situations, you're excreting this cortisol all the time, which indicates to your body, oh, fight or flight, which then indicates to your body, oh, we need to pump up the adrenaline. So then you're like always like running around like this, right? So I knew something was wrong with me. I didn't know what it was. I went to this functional MD. He did all these different tests. So I believe it's a blood test. Like I forgot to look it up before I got on here, but it's graded on a bell curve. They did something that was legitimate. It wasn't just like questions. I believe it was blood or something, or saliva, something like that. And basically found out that he said I had a mild to moderate case of adrenal gland fatigue syndrome, which I find hilarious because I felt like I was dying. So I thought it was more like severe, but he said it was mild to moderate. So at the time, the doctor said, oh, you need to go lay on an island for like 3 months. Like, if you can do that, you'll be great. I'm like, well, that's great, but I was a caregiver to my mom at the time who was dying. So clearly that was one of the reasons why my adrenaline was going all the time. It was the stress of that. So I did not have the luxury, like most people don't, to go lay on an island for 3 months, which I totally understood what he was saying, but I couldn't do that. So what I did is I did some vitamin C, like vitamin IV treatments there. I think it was vitamin C. I forget what else they put in it. They put like an IV in your arm, and I would go, and I know there was vitamin C in it because you could kind of taste the taste in your mouth because it's running through your blood. So that helped a little bit, but honestly, adrenal gland fatigue syndrome is something where you're supposed to eliminate the stress. And let's be honest, it's easy to say that, but it's hard to do. If you've been stressed out to begin with from major situations, you're probably dealing with the after effects of that, and you just can't be like, oh, goodbye stress, okay, everything's fine. Like, it's a mental thing too, right? It's your hormones, and it messes up with your organs, but also your mind. So anyway, I took something yesterday. I just wanted to suggest to you, oh, before I forget, about the depression. I mentioned that, do you have depression? Do you have hypoglycemia? Do you have food allergies? Do you have all this? Well, guess what? adrenal fatigue syndrome can be the reason behind your depression, your hypoglycemia. It basically has this domino effect where it starts affecting every part of your body. So I've had food allergies. I've had hypoglycemia. I currently do. I have depression and anxiety. And so it could all be started from adrenal gland fatigue syndrome, or it could be, you know, I got depressed, which helped to bring on, or anxious, you know, who knows the exact sequence, but it is a cause of that. So if you have any of those symptoms and you wonder where they originate from, it could be adrenal fatigue syndrome. They say 80% of people over their lifetime will end up getting adrenal fatigue syndrome at some point. You'll never know it if you go only to a regular doctor because they refuse to recognize it in that mainstream community. So you have to see a functional MD to find out, but you need to know if your adrenals are running properly or not, because if you don't know, you can't do anything to fix it. So I was feeling extremely stressed out the last few days, particularly yesterday, but the last few days, and almost up to a week, because the holidays are coming up. I lost both of my parents. It's always a hard time of year for me, so I feel like that's part of the extra stress and I already have anxiety. So I'm not sure if that's what was going on. I suspect it is. I've been thinking about my mom a lot lately, but I just needed to do something. So I take CBD oil. Hey, Brandon. And I ran out of CBD oil. So I was going out to, I go to dispensary to get it. If you, just so you know, it's not psychoactive, doesn't make you high. It's anti-inflammatory CBD oil. It helps for a variety of conditions. So I was going out to get that. They didn't have what I needed. So I went to this very high-end grocery store. Hey, Elizabeth, called Air One here. It's basically like a high-end Whole Foods, if you can believe it or not. Whole Foods is already high-end. It's more high-end than Whole Foods. And they have a little cabinet where they have a CBD oil. So I start talking to people there. I'm very talkative. I'm always trying to find out information. And every time you talk, I recommend, if you ever go to a health food store or whatever, I recommend you go there multiple times, because you'll always find someone new that works there to talk to, and everybody's going to have their own little concoction of things they recommend, and then you can find a whole variety of things. But I wanted to recommend some things I found last night. Like I said, feeling very stressed. CBD oil, if you don't know, is fantastic. However, and I still encourage you to use it. I just want to let you know that your body acclimates to it. So very similar to pharmaceutical drugs, not pharmaceutical at all. Like, it's totally natural CBD oil. I'm not comparing it that way. But I'm just saying, when you take a pharmaceutical, you need to continue to take more and more over time, because your body almost becomes not immune to it, but needs more. It's the same thing with CBD oil. So I was finding like I'm feeling more agitated because the effects are wearing off. Now, easy way to fix that with CBD oil, you put it aside for a week, you don't use it, your tolerance goes back down. That's great, but I have anxiety, so I need it every day. So I was like, I need to take something else in addition to CBD, which I had them, and I wanted to ask them when I was there for the CBD oil, Air One, about these other options. And, excuse me, I totally didn't even think about my adrenal fatigue syndrome, because I was diagnosed like a decade ago. I know I still have it. One classic sign is if you feel like crashing around 2 or 3 p.m., you get extremely exhausted, want a nap. And then at 9 or 10 p.m., you're like, woo, like the party's getting started and you're wide awake. That is me. So it's like I still have those signs, so I know I have it. But when I was there, this girl, I was talking to her about, oh, I'm stressed out, I have anxiety, you know, my mom died, it's hard this time of year, and I just talked to them because I know they're going to suggest good things. So there happened to be a rep there for one of the lines, sorry, hair in my face, and she just, you know, mentioned about adrenal fatigue syndrome herself, and I'm like, oh my God, I have that. I totally never really think about that. I just think about strictly anxiety. I don't really nurture that. And she was telling me, you know, I don't know how much this is true, but she's basically saying that anxiety can cause paralysis in your limbs, which sounds very scary. I haven't confirmed that. She was just saying she would have numbness, basically. She called it paralysis. I think she meant numbness. And she said she doubled up on this certain supplement and for her adrenal gland fatigue syndrome, and basically got past all that. And she looked healthy, radiant, glowing. And I was like, what are you taking? So it's this brand I already take. It's called, I don't know if you can see in the light, it's called Adrenal-t, and it's from Life Seasons. I love their bottles for whatever reason. I don't know why. But This is adrenal support. It's got a list what it has in it. And the reason I'm bringing this up, by the way, hold on, I'll do that in a second. There also, last night, I bought this. I took anxie-t with the T at the end from Life Seasons. Okay, I love their brand, and I also have, I'm probably going to sound like a little crazy person here, I have their BP stability, because my blood pressure, I had historically low blood pressure, which, by the way, now vacillates up and down. Hey Sharky, because of my dang anxiety. I'm pretty sure it's anxiety induced. I have heart disease in my family, but my blood pressure is erratic. It goes up and it goes down. Guess what? That's what adrenaline does. You get a surge of adrenaline and it goes away. You get a surge of adrenaline, it goes, I know it's adrenaline. So, but going back to the first two supplements, so I got those extra two last night, the Adrenal-t and the anxiety. And I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. Like, I love natural supplements. I'm actually kind of anti-drugs now. But I just get annoyed sometimes, like, you want that quick fix. Like, you take a pill, like a naproxen or whatever, and the pain goes away. You know, and so you want a quick fix. And so with some of my supplements, and I always preach on here about consistency, I'm consistent with online marketing, but I'm not consistent with my own dang health. I'm used to being a caregiver. I took care of my mom. I was a caregiver to her. I had 2 dogs. I'm like the caregiver to them. Not that I'm the only person with dogs, but I'm just saying I always come last. I guess raise your hand or throw some hearts if you're a mom. I'm not a mom. I'm a fur mom. But I know moms and wives can understand this. You do everything for everyone else and you put yourself last. And I'm going to stop doing that. So I took these 2 supplements last night, which I wanted to share because literally, I know it was in CBD oil because I take the CBD oil every day, which helps. But like, I felt totally calm. I'm like, my adrenals need nourishment. And I mean, I'm talking about within 5 to 10 minutes. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be this way for everybody. Now, I have heard that for a lot of people, it takes up to a week for at least the Adrenal-t one to work. But for me, and I took it again this morning, like right away, immediate calm. I mean, 5-10 minutes. I'm not talking about 45 minutes later even, just for me. I don't know how it would work for other people, but so Adrenal-t, I'm going to read the ingredients there. It's got rhodiola, holy basil, something called schisandra, ashwagandha, and vitamin B6. So the B vitamins are B6 and I believe B12 are really good for like anxiety. It's very nourishing. I know that. So you want to load up on B vitamins. Holy basil is basically for immune support. It helps just support your not immune, but your nervous system pretty much. So that is also great for anti-anxiety. Ashwagandha is something they call it an adaptogen, meaning it helps your own body adapt to stress. I believe it's an Indian herb. And then the other couple here, I don't really recognize what they are, but it says here, it helps your body's natural ability to manage stress. It supports healthy endocrine system function. It promotes healthy mental and physical performance. And this is all natural. There's no junk in here. These are just like herbs and vitamins. And I'm telling you, I took the 2 pills and literally 5 to 10 minutes. And I know for me, it's adrenal fatigue. So the only way you would know, you could guess that you have adrenal gland fatigue syndrome. The only way you would really know is if you go to a functional MD and they do this bell curve test. I forget the name of it. But I just had to mention that because a lot of people are walking around with adrenal fatigue syndrome and have no clue that they have it and have never even heard of it. I had not heard of it until I'd gone to this functional MD, but it's something to investigate. The other one, everybody almost and their mama has, anxiety. This one, I'll read the ingredients on this too. I don't know. Now, I can't say I took them together, and I did the same thing this morning. I can't say if it was one more than the other that helped me, but I think that they're both viable. So the anxiety has the ashwagandha again, which is the Indian herb, which is an adaptogen, helps your body adapt to stress. It's got GABA. GABA is kind of that I believe it's oh my gosh, I'm forgetting. It's in your brain. It helps like your neurotransmitters emit like almost that happiness, that happy vibe. Kava kava, if you haven't heard of that, it was kind of controversial for a while. I even asked about that, but it was controversial for potential liver damage. But the people that they looked at, I guess, had a history of drinking. And so that wasn't isolated from the people that they had studied. So I'm not so worried because I've taken it in the past before they had all these negative reports years ago about the liver damage, and nothing had ever happened to me. I I talked to the rep too, and she talked to me about the studies, and so I felt more confident on that. Then this has got theobromine, which I'm not sure what that is, and it's got L-theanine. L-theanine, it supports relaxation of the nervous system, helps to improve mood and cognitive performance. And I'll read you about the others. So GABA, it's an important, neurotransmitting nutrient that calms the brain and promotes a state of well-being. With kava, it helps the body's ability to manage emotional stress and relax the muscles. Yes, it's got a relaxing effect. The theobromine helps maintain a calm mood while maintaining alertness. And again, ashwagandha, I'll read their description. It's used traditionally to support natural energy levels and moderate the effects of occasional stress. Studies have shown that it has a rejuvenating effect. So, I mean, this is like for well-being, but it's just for your life, because I'm always helping people tell other people like what to do. Like, I also go for massage, I go for chiropractic, I go for acupuncture and therapy, and EMDR therapy, which is a specialized form. It's not talk therapy. It's very, very good. It's for trauma. And, I've had people think, I know there's some people that have told me, like, oh, they think it's, like, gratuitous. Like, you don't need a massage. A massage is a luxury. I'm sorry, in the day and age that we live in, a massage is not a luxury. Because if your shoulders are sore and your traps are all like this because we are like this at the computer, that's not a luxury. That's preventing you from having a hunchback when you're like 90 years old, by keeping your posture good and opening up the muscles, right? So I have pain when I go for massages, so it's definitely not a luxury, but it's those kind of statements from people that encourage other people not to take care of themselves because they just kind of weather it and they brave it. Well, I'm just going to brave it. I don't need a massage. Like, I'll be fine. My back will feel better. But you're letting all this junk and these toxins sit in your muscles, this lactic acid, and you want to release the toxins, by massaging the muscle, right? They're letting toxins flow through your body. Same thing, the chi, the energy is flowing through your body with the acupuncture. So I'm the one to tell other people what to do, and I do that self-care of going for appointments. But when it comes to me taking my supplements, because I got like 20 of them and I overwhelm myself, because like I told you, every time I go to the store, I talk to someone new and they have an amazing idea, and I buy that stuff. So that's my own fault, but it isn't, right? Because there's so many pills out there, because no one's come up with that magic one super pill that we could all take that would basically cure anything that was wrong in your body. Unfortunately, that doesn't exist. But I made a pact with myself yesterday. My blood pressure keeps going up and down. That damages your blood vessels. It's very bad for you. It could be because it runs in my family, heart disease, but I feel like a lot of it is due to stress too, because up until a decade ago, I had low blood pressure, 110/70, 90/60. If you don't know, normal's 120/80. So 110/70 is excellent. 90/60 is good, starting to get a little low. But now I'm the other direction, which I really, really don't like. It could just be having to do with age also, but I know stress plays a part. So know that if you have things going on in your body like depression, anxiety, there could be another root cause. It could come, you can even get anxiety from your gut. These things are all interrelated. Your gut is interrelated with hypoglycemia and all this stuff. So know that adrenal fatigue syndrome, since it affects 80% of people at some point in their life, you may have had it or have it. You would know because you would be so exhausted, and you would feel overly agitated. You'd get heart palpitations. You'd potentially start to get food allergies. You might be hypoglycemic. There's all these different signs. I did an article. If you want to go, you can go right back to my profile after this and type in the search bar. There's a little, at least on an iPhone, you click on the top right corner where there's 3 dots. Click on that. It will say search profile. You could search it for adrenal fatigue syndrome or just adrenal fatigue. And I wrote a post on this, a few of them, with tons of the signs of what happens to you. So I don't have to go into 100 signs. But you probably have had it. Your adrenals need to be nourished. Nobody pays attention to them. And I would definitely suggest, again, this adrenal-t. Literally, first time I took it, I'm already thrilled. I would buy this over and over and over. I would take nourishment for your adrenals. anything to calm your nervous system for anxiety. Like I said, the other one here that I had taken is anxiety. Now, these are not the only supplements I have. I told you I have about 20 bottles, which is part of the reason why I don't take them all. I don't love swallowing pills, so I need to focus just on the most important stuff. The adrenal thing is going to be, I have to have it every day, and the anxiety one. But take it from someone who's lived with this for 10 years, okay? I don't, like I said, I'm pretty sure I still have it. I'm 99.9% sure because this affects me right away and I have the signs. But you don't want to live with adrenal fatigue syndrome. It's taxing your body. It's not healthy. You feel like crap and you can't handle additional new stress. You basically are overtaxed. It's like the kettle on the stove for tea that is like, you know, spitting out the steam, like whistling the steam, and it's like, like someone come get me, I'm gonna not stop whistling the steam. It's that, like, you have so much of that pent up like energy in you from the adrenaline running all the time, and it's this agitated feeling under your skin. At least that's what happens for me. It's just, I'm so tired of it. I'd never had anxiety when I was younger. It, I believe, got brought on by these multiple stressful situations that happened one after the other. I had about within the period of 2-3 years, I had about 6 major life event stressors that psychologists deem as major stressors happen to me. I had a cousin who had one. He moved across his country and he had to go on antidepressants from just moving. Okay, and I've been through like 6 things. So imagine me for sure needing antidepressants at that point, which I'm no longer on because of CBD oil. So I do hail CBD oil. Don't get me wrong. Everyone's talking about CBD oil. I do think it's fantastic. But your body acclimates to it, so I continue to take it, but I have to take increasing doses, and that's the only thing I don't like. And I feel like if you know you have adrenal fatigue syndrome, you should take something not only anti-inflammatory, but something that is specific for it that's going to rebalance your adrenals so that these particular vitamins and herbs recalibrate your body for this. You know what I mean? So I definitely suggest this. I don't work for the company or anything. I'm not an affiliate. I don't even know. I should look if they have an affiliate program. Life Seasons is a great brand. I really trust them. I spoke with the rep yesterday, like I said, at the high-end grocery store. I trust the grocery store just because I know I mentioned a couple times it's high-end, but they know what they're talking about. For instance, the people that work there have a background. They're just not a store clerk. One of them was a Kundalini teacher, yoga teacher that I spoke with. So she knew all about breathing and breath and flow and what happens to your organs. It was so interesting. You know, I have a yoga certification from YogaWorks, but only 200 hours. So I'm not as trained, and I haven't really gone on to teach yoga. So it was interesting talking to her, you know. And then other ones, they've had experiences outside that store. They're very, very knowledgeable. And then I talked to the actual rep. So hopefully you don't have it, and hopefully you never get overstressed. It's important, as 5 people reminded me yesterday, because I needed the reminder that you gotta not only self-care, because I go for those appointments, you gotta take time for yourself to do what you love. I am the worst at this because I have tons of things I have to accomplish. I have a major offline project I'm working on. I have my copywriting course coming out that there's a wait list for. And those are just 2 things, and I have other things, and I try to do multiple things at once, all the time. And then I forget about little old me, the girl working overtime. I forget about me, and then I don't do anything, and I haven't been doing fun things outside at all because I'm in a building business mode. And I forget, even though I took care of my mom and I was a caregiver to her, you need respite. You need that downtime. I had a friend who didn't have a clue about the level of stress I was going through despite all the situations, had never been through that, and was saying to me, you know, like kind of giving me crap basically, excuse my language today. And I was like, you don't understand. You go on vacations 4 times a year. That's called respite. What that does is that decompresses you so you're recharged, so when you come back to work, you can go out at full force. Like, no shiitake, that I'm having like, problems when I'm taking care of my mom for 6 years and don't get away one time for a vacation in 6 years nowhere. Like, not even days away, not even like around the corner, like trip. Like, that's not human, right? And so that I really didn't have a choice. I didn't have any help. I didn't have a nurse there. I didn't have any family. It was me or nobody. So she needed me. But now I have a choice. So when you have adrenal fatigue syndrome, remember too to take like time out for yourself to decompress. Go to one of those sip and paint, where those wine nights where you paint a little painting. They have them in every city. Cost like $35 or something, cheap. Or I do go for walks on the beach with my dogs, but like I realize like I have to, like I keep saying I can't because I have to do this and I have to do that, and I have to write this and I have to get this done and I have all these things I want to do and accomplish by December 31st, and then it's like you're running yourself ragged. So just also remember to be kind to yourself. I'm always telling other people to do that, and I'm always forgetting about myself, because it really does make a difference. People don't understand. People who've never had any stress or gone through major life stress don't understand what getting away 3 to 4 times a year does for your body, in your mind. And not that you can afford to do that, or I can, for whatever reason, for time or for money or for commitments or whatever. But like, make a point of going and doing little fun things in your community, or if they have any little, like there's a, it's a little far, so I probably won't go, it's 100 miles away from me, but there's a little festival with, for the seasons, for Thanksgiving, with like some apple picking or apple butter, or some festival somewhere, like stuff like that. Like you go away for a little day and like, or a few hours, and you recharge. You go to wine tasting country if you live near wine tasting country for like half a day, or you just go walk in a new mall that just opened up that you haven't been to yet, or I don't know, go to an amusement park for the day. I did that a couple weeks, or no, I think it's already been a month. It was, a month ago. Disneyland. I'm going to go to another. I'm preaching it because I need to do it too, so I'm guilty of this. But like, all that stuff can kind of get you away from this. The other one quick thing I want to mention on adrenal fatigue syndrome that's super important, and that I forget, because I went to a place called the Rage Room in Los Angeles. The Kardashians were there. Hey Penny, it was actually on their Keeping Up with the Kardashians episode. They were on it after I visited. It's one of those rooms where you go and just beat the shiitake out of stuff. They give you a baseball bat and they have like shot glasses, and like you can just beat whatever's in the room. It was featured on The Bachelorette last season too, the same place. And that's a lot of fun, but it's not necessarily something that's good for adrenal fatigue syndrome. And I kind of knew that, but I did it anyway because I thought it would relieve stress. When you have adrenal fatigue syndrome, also anything too high octane, like boxing, or anything that's super aggressive for working out, like the high intensity workouts and stuff, can actually aggravate adrenal fatigue syndrome. It's a fine balance. You want to get exercise, but you don't want it to be like aggressive. Anything that's aggressive and like probably listening to rock music, like, or heavy metal type of stuff, any of that type of stuff that's super aggressive, your body's already like running on adrenaline. You want to decompress it, so you want to do complete opposite of that, so more mellow. So walking fast is really good and stuff like that, but nothing super aggressive. Anyway, I hope that was a little kind of entree into what adrenal fatigue syndrome is. If you haven't already heard of it, like I mentioned in the beginning, 80% of people over the lifetime will at some point get it. You need to go to a functional MD to be diagnosed, but hopefully that was a whole little intro for you, and that the supplements I showed you, again, from Life Seasons, would be Adrenal-t and anxie-t. I love how they have the -t at the end, even for Adrenal-t, but they all rhyme, like anxie-t. This one is so cute for the blood pressure, is Stability. I love the T because I'm T, right? I don't know if that's why I love it, but the bottles, and they're just super, I don't know. I love how they put all the what's in it on the front, what it's for, and the back has a really nice summary of how it helps. But so yeah, just keep all that in mind for adrenal fatigue syndrome. Take supplements, nourish your body, your mind, your soul, everything. Meditation. I meditated for about 5-10 minutes this morning. just kind of listening to relaxation meditations and nothing hardcore. I know to do that. Used to meditate 3 times a day with my mom when I was her caregiver and she was sick. Literally, because I just was depressed, and I would sit there with her when we weren't at the doctor and watch TV because I couldn't motivate myself. I was so utterly depressed. So one thing we did do is we did a lot of meditation, and I need to get back in it. I don't have time, and I tell other people to make time. I got to make time too, so I made the time today. I'm going to try and do it every day. And the other thing is, when you have adrenal fatigue syndrome, I've not read this somewhere, but I know it to be true 100%. You want to probably diminish noise. You know, when you watch TV, everything's fast editing, and movies, it like moves like you barely blink and you missed a scene, you know. You want to stay away from any of that is too, it's just da 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 da. You want to get to a calm, like Zen, beach, walking, calmness. So we listen to somebody with a really calm, welcoming voice like this to start off your morning. You don't want to hear da 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 the minute that you wake up, right? Okay, hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully I didn't sound crazy. I hope you're having a great Wednesday, hump day, and I'll chat with you soon. Take care.